We're joined today by David Silverman. He's president of American Atheists. David, always great to talk to you. I'm trying to figure out what exactly happened with CPAC. Earlier in our show today, we played some of the clips from CPAC, and people are a little bit up to speed now about what CPAC is. But you at one point were trying to have a booth at CPAC. You were initially told yes, but then later they took the booth away.
Right.
So
Right.
how did this all go down?
Well, first of all, thanks, David, for having me back on the show. We had a really interesting experience with CPAC this year, and I'm really glad to talk about it. We were going to CPAC for the very specific reason of sowing the seeds that social conservatism, the stuff about conservatism that really not too many people in the atheist movement like, the anti gay rights, the anti-abortion, for lack of a better words, the the death with dignity, the school prayer, all that stuff is weighing down real conservatism. And the point that I was bringing in was that conservatism, which is more about small government, gun rights, that kind of stuff, is being held back and pushed down by this theocratic agenda of the social conservative wing. And I wanted to highlight the fact that there are about 20 million non-religious people in this country who lean towards small government but don't vote conservative. And I posited that it was probably because of the fact that conservatives were pushing them away with these social agendas. And we wanted to really plant some seeds to the fiscal conservatives to say, hey, you know what? Those social conservative arguments, they're really holding us back. And that's why we wanted to go, to raise the awareness of atheists in the conservative movement, but also to raise the awareness of the fact that there would be millions and millions more atheists in the conservative movement if the conservative movement would simply dump all of the religious Christian crap.
Sure, because certainly there's a libertarian wing that
Sure.
were it not for, there's a non-religious libertarian wing that were it not for all of these social issues might actually vote for some Republicans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are a lot of atheists. I mean, there's a lot of crossover here, and there's a lot that the conservatives are pushing away by making it the party of Jesus.
All right,
And
but
that's
now
the point where we're going.
And the point you're trying to make, you're not actually trying to help Republicans win in practice. I mean, my assessment is you're trying to point out an incredible flaw in the entire platform of the Republican Party, I think. Or are you actually trying to help Republicans?
Well, no, I'm trying to. I guess you could say I'm trying to help Republicans by trying to help us, by trying to help rid the conservative movement of their Christian agenda. That will help Republicans. That's the way I went in on this, that this will help you if you do this. This will benefit you if you do this. But yeah, the better way to put this, the more accurate way to put this is I was there pushing the incredible flaw in their argument of sticking with the fastest shrinking group and pushing away the fastest growing group. And really, that's why I went in there. And what happened was I had an interview with CNN, and I told them that we were going in there to attack the notion that Christianity and conservatism are inextricably linked.
And at this point, you had been told yes to the booth, right?
Yes,
Okay.
we had the booth. In fact, one of our board members, Jamila Bey, actually attended the CPAC 2015 planning session as an exhibitor because we had been approved. And I said that conservatism, and we were going into, and this is what happened, we were going in to attack the notion that conservatism and Christianity are inextricably linked. And I said that because we were going in, of course it's reasonable for organized Christianity to be threatened by the presence of conservatism at CPAC.
By the presence of atheism, you mean?
By atheism, yes, thank you. By the presence of atheism at CPAC. And when I said that to CNN, the CPAC people got very upset. And I want to make it specific that it was the CPAC leadership that got very upset. CPAC board members began to complain. And I got a call from Daniel Schneider, the executive director of CPAC, saying that I had used aggressive language and attacked people of faith by saying that Christianity and conservative were not inextricably linked. And because I said that right-wing Christianity should feel threatened by atheists at CPAC, by the growth of secularism at CPAC, they said I was threatening and using aggressive language, and that's the reason they used to pull our booth.
Right. So after that happened, were you able to push back, or did you just tell Daniel Snyder, okay? I mean, how does that conversation go?
We had a pretty civil conversation. It was actually two conversations. We had a pretty civil conversation where I said to him, look, there's no threat here. There's no implied threat. I didn't say anything about people of faith. We're here to deliver this message. And he said, well, this message is a message that we don't like. And I said, well, this is still the message that we're giving, that conservatism does not require Christianity. He yielded that conservatism does not require Christianity. But then he called back and said, because of our tone, they're sending back our money and taking away our booth.
Which is incredible, because the Tea Party, which we could argue has the absolute worst tone of any political group in the U.S. in the last decades, is front and center. You have Michelle Bachmann up on stage, and Sarah Palin, and Ted Cruz.
Newt Gingrich.
And Newt Gingrich. The double standard is incredible based on tone. I would almost rather them say, you know what? Having atheists there is just disruptive, and we want to keep the message out. I would actually respect that more than this complete hypocritical double standard of, well, your tone wasn't good.
Yeah, and I would agree with you there, David. It would have been more respectful for them to just tell me the truth, but he had to do something. It was very obvious to me that he had received a lot of heat for having our presence there. CNN had written about it. I honestly don't want to put thoughts in his mind because I'm not in his mind, but it seemed to me that he didn't like what he was telling me. It seemed to me that he was being forced to take this position. And what reinforced that, and this is a bit of a tangent, but what reinforced that is that during CPAC, I had an occasion to speak with the president of the ACU, which I assume would be the person on the board who is the boss of Dan Schneider, the executive director. I believe his name was Martin or Marvin. I'm not quite sure. It escapes me right now. But he was honest in that he did not want atheists there. He said there are four pillars of conservatism. One of them is faith. If you disagree with one of our pillars, you're not coming to CPAC. He was very blunt. And when I gently pushed back, he walked away. He invented a reason to walk away.
Right.
And he said, you know how to contact me? And I don't know how to contact him. So it's really sad. It was sad to me to see what I viewed as the real face of the bigotry was coming from the higher ups of the ACU. And to counter that, I wanted to point out to you a very, very interesting thing that happened at CPAC. And we can go into this. I'm taking the conversation to a different place, but I met a lot of supporters at CPAC. I met a lot of atheists at CPAC. And I met a majority of people at CPAC who fervently disagreed with our expulsion, fervently disagreed that we should not have a place at the table. And this came from Christians too. And what I got was that it was almost a joke. It was almost a joke that the old guard at the ACU is the organization that runs CPAC. It was almost a joke that the board of ACU was completely out of touch with the attendees of CPAC.
Right. Well, it seems incredibly clear that there actually are reasonable conservatives who say, you know what, we're about free speech and we're about openness. There's no reason to deny American Atheists being here in a formal sense. And if people don't care about atheism, if the message doesn't resonate, nobody will go to their booth and that will be it. And next year, maybe they don't put any money into coming to CPAC and just kind of let it happen that way. This kind of strong arming from above seems to be something a lot of reasonable conservatives disagree with.
Well, wait a minute, David. You're kind of talking about, you're almost sounding like you're talking about a free market of ideas. I mean, that's not what conservatism is. Oh, wait a minute. That is what conservatism is all about. I'm sorry, that whole free market and oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Not
the
in the
next step is going to
slightest.
be to get some elected officials that don't think they're representing those views, because there's definitely a disconnect there. It sounds like an incredible weekend. You've said it all. David Silverman, president of American Atheists. Great story. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, David. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be talking about this a lot at our national convention on Easter weekend in Salt Lake City. There are still seats available. If you have anybody who wants to come, David, you're invited to come. Please go to atheists.org for more details. Salt Lake City on Easter weekend is a great place to have an atheist convention, and we're going to have a lot of fun.